And go.
Hey, what's going on? I'm Will,
And I'm Steven.
and this is the Post Peak Chronicles Talk to Me Tuesday. So, me, Steven, no special guest this time. This time, we're going to get to know Steven. So, as you know, I've been to prison, but maybe if you haven't realized it in watching our episodes and everything like that, Steven has also been to prison in a bunch of different countries. So that's what he's, that's what he does. He goes to minister to people in different prisons. He juvenile halls. Enough of me talking about it. Let's talk to Steven. What's going on, Steven?
What's up, Will? Yeah, I mean, I've had the honor of, I don't know what the honor, some people would say the dirty job of being able to go into prisons in Kenya, Uganda, and Nigeria, the Philippines, Mexico, all over the world. And it's been pretty fascinating. I started domestically doing prison ministry and especially with juvenile halls. And then I got the opportunity to go around the world with actually two of our guests we previously interviewed, James and Tim Neisler. And we've got some pretty gnarly stories.
Man, okay. So, well, I want to know first, what was the first one you ever went to? And how was that first experience?
So my biggest welcome to prison third world country moment that really opened my eyes was we're in Uganda and we were preaching and all these guys were same uniform, but they all just looked super malnourished, sitting on the cement ground while we're speaking. Probably never had visitors ever before in the prison. They were sleeping on cement floors and their bathroom was basically a hole in the middle of this room, the cement room. Wow. And that was their way of life. That was their way of living. And then I went to the other side of the prison where the women were, and there were babies and children in the prison with the mothers. So if they, there's no CPS or Child Protective Services. So if the woman goes in pregnant or she has a young one, in that society, dad's not taking care of a little child. That's the woman's job. So there were babies and children being raised in prison with the women. It was pretty eye-opening and shocking.
I mean, I would imagine, it's one thing to say, oh, my mom's in prison. It's another thing to be 5 years old. Like, no, I've been in prison for the last 5 years with my mom.
Well,
that's kind of,
you don't understand. When I grew up in prison. I was born in prison.
Yeah, it's a whole nother concept. So, after doing this so much, because you've done it so many different times and so many different places, as you just said, has it gotten so much easier, or is still hard to see people in third world countries like that in those prisons?
It's still hard to see because, I don't want to diminish the United States prison system, but many times I could say the United States prison system is like a daycare. You guys got doctors and nurses on staff. You guys get 3 square meals a day. You get out to exercise. When I just see the conditions of these third world countries, I'm like, man, I would, you know what you're getting into if you do a crime in the US. Violence is probably the biggest thing you got to worry about in a United States prison. I would be so afraid to do a prison, afraid to commit a crime in the Philippines. When I saw their living conditions, I'm like, I would die in here. Hands down, I would just die.
Yeah, because
not from being beat up or jumped. I would probably start
from diphtheria or something like that. Just all kind of
exactly.
Oh my goodness, it's like that. Yeah, it's just crazy. So as I'm hearing the stories, right, I'm thinking that's how I look at like European prisons. Have you seen that? Like European prisons are just so like every man gets one cell, but that cell has like a kitchen and all these different things. You get a key to your cell. It's
really?
like, yeah, it's like you have a knife, like because you're literally cooking in your kitchen and stuff like that. I'm like, what? So the comparison to, I guess, from the third world to us looks like child's play. Then
when I was
from us though, there's like, man, that's child's play.
Yeah, when I was in the Philippines, there was like a 15 by 15 foot room, and there had to be 80 to 100 guys in there. And when you open the door to the cell, it was like opening the door to an oven because there's just so humid and just the body heat. people dying of dehydration because it's just bodies on top of bodies on top of bodies. If one person gets sick, they all get sick. If one person gets, I can't imagine how it was during COVID. If one person got COVID, everyone in the prison got it. And, one thing I want to talk about too is the justice system in like the Philippines or a third world country, Kenya, for example. If you don't have a family member with money or a family member that's a lawyer, they basically lock you up and throw away the keys. In the United States, you get your first trial within 3 days of being arrested, correct? You see a judge?
Yeah.
I was in the Philippines and there were guys, it's been 7 years and they haven't even gotten their first trial yet.
Years.
Yeah. And in Kenya, when I was in a prison, there was guys in their street clothes, which means they haven't had their trial yet. Guys in stripes, which means they've been convicted, and then guys in all gray, which mean they were murderers. But it's like these guys, just because they don't have money, they could be innocent 7 years deep, but not even going to see the trial.
Years. That is mind blowing.
Because I was talking to him, he's like, "Yeah, man, I've been here for 7 years, haven't even had my first trial yet." I was like, "What?" He's like, "It'll probably be another 7."
Hey, and then until he's found not guilty, 14
Exactly.
years. That's incredible. So, what prison do you want to visit next? What country would you like to visit next?
It's a loaded question. There's so many.
There's so
many. I would love to go back to Kenya, because we installed a lot of water filters for these prisons so they could have access to clean water supply so they can live a healthier life and just see how they're doing and see the effect and impact it made on them. There's this one prison in Kenya I was preaching and just a river of feces flowing through the middle of the prison, like right below our feet. It was disgusting. And, you got used to the smell real quick, but it was definitely one of those experiences. And I tell people, like, you gotta see it to believe it. So I have all these stories, but I don't think a lot of people would believe them.
I mean, the river of shit right there, that one right there alone is, it blows my mind that you've experienced all these different, prisons. Like, I don't even know if I can experience one of them.
Yeah. And there's a couple other key differences I wanted to point out. Like, if there's violence, it's the prison guards on the inmates. If you try to escape, they'll beat you to death. They'll break both your legs. There's a guy on a mat in one of the prisons in Kenya. You could tell both his legs are broken. It's like, what happened to that guy? Oh, he tried to escape last week. The guards get you and just beat the crap out of you. And then as far as overall violence, it's actually lower in those countries, more so for the fact that the prisons are in different regions. So if you're all from that region, you all go into that prison. It's not like, the Northerners and the Southerners and the Crips and the Bloods or whatever. It's just, we're all from this region. We're all locked up in this prison for doing a crime. And even in the Philippines, they call that COSA, which means like family. Like, it's kind of like we all got screwed. We've all screwed. We're in here probably unjustly.
Right.
What are we going to do about it? So there's almost like a weird, like, family atmosphere in those prisons because of the fact that
we're struggling together.
We're all in this together, right?
Yeah, we're struggling together.
Exactly. And so where you see like American prisons are known for violence, these ones, unless it's prison guard violence, there's not a lot of violence, just for the straight fact that their justice system doesn't have any justice. So it's like, we're all in this together. We're all just trying to survive. And we don't need to make it harder on each other by being violent.
No, that's nice, man. That's nice. I would have never thought that, especially in Mexico. Is it like that in Mexico prisons? Because
that's a little more gang oriented. I mean, I'm sure you could talk to JC about that. It's definitely more violent in the Mexican prison.
Speaking of, season 2 is coming up next week, right?
Yeah, we got a special guest, probably one of our best guests yet.
Definitely. 2-parter? 3-parter? I don't know. You guys got to tune in, but definitely make sure that you tune in. Make sure that you like, subscribe, tell a friend. Just keep on watching that Post P Chronicles, man. Post P Chronicles. We're doing some incredible things. We're going to have some incredible guests.
We got JC, who's actually been to prison in Mexico and the U.S. Has a great story. So stay tuned for that one.
Stay tuned, man. Thanks for telling us about your story, Stephen.
Yeah, I got a lot of them. If you ever want me to share some in-depth ones, I got one of Tim almost started a riot in a prison by breaking out a drone in a third world country.
What?
They've never seen a drone in their life, and Tim just busted out to get a flyover of the prison and just bombarding and stampeding all of us just to go get a look at this drone. And I was like, Tim, turn off the drone. The guards, nobody could keep these guys in control because they're just like 1,000 guys just running to see
Just
this
excited
drone.
to see a drone. Because
Yeah.
they don't have no TV or anything like that.
No, there's no Wi-Fi. There's no electricity. There's no TV, no cell phones out there. It's just
Do they
nothing.
have books or like do they have like a lot of books that they can read?
So they do books. Let me grab some stuff. So they do like arts and crafts. They do books. Like, lucky I'm in this room. So like, this is something, a necklace that I was made from a Filipino prison. This is actually a tilapia fish that the prisoners made me in a Kenyan prison. And then this is like a basket that they wove me in a Ugandan prison. So like they do types of crafts and stuff like that. And
Okay.
they do have a soccer ball, so they'll play soccer all day. But yeah, the necessities becomes like bedding and soap and just the basics you don't even have. So yeah, books, maybe.
Maybe. No, that's crazy, man.
Yeah, and there's some prisons in the Philippines where, the prison doesn't supply anything, so the families will actually have to move outside the prison or close proximity to the prison to bring the inmate food and clothes every day because the prison does not supply anything.
What? You don't even get the basics as food? So if you don't have your family moving close, you essentially are going to starve to death.
Yeah. Or find some way to work in there and trade and barter.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
I'm not going to say count your blessings for being in the U.S. prison, but
count your blessings
scenarios
that you're not in Ugandan prison. Yeah, I won't count my blessings that I'm in prison in the United States, but I will count my blessings I didn't get arrested in Uganda.
Yeah, one of the heartbreaking stories for me that stands out really, really, like I still think about it today. When I was in a Filipino prison in the Philippines, this guy, a lot of them speak English. And Filipinos are very close and like family oriented. This guy was locked up. He came up to me. He's like, "Where are you from?" I'm like, United States, California, San Diego. He looks at me. He's like, "I used to live in Long Beach." And I was like, dang, he was in Long Beach. Now he's locked up in a Filipino prison with no rights, hundreds of guys, and probably isn't going to get a court date. Like that was like an eye-opening experience for me. Dude from Long Beach, locked up in a prison, probably never going to see the daylight again.
Man. Yeah, I can only imagine, man. I can definitely only imagine. Yeah. So, man, again, tune in, you guys. Make sure you watch our coming up season. This is some exciting things we got ahead of us. So, once again, I'm Will.
And I'm Steven.
And this is Post Peak Chronicles. Talk to me Tuesday. We'll talk to you soon.